2018. It is now 6:34. And we are at the City Council chambers of the City of Castle Hills, in case anybody's at the wrong place. I call this special meeting Zoning Commission and City Council meeting, joint meeting to order and determine whether a quorum is present. A quorum is present.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes?
I'd like to ask Mr. Brennan a question before we start.
Sure.
Mr. Brennan, where is the legal authority for this commission, or the zoning commission and the city council to meet like this? I've been here for many years, and there's only one other commission that has the legal authority to meet with council. It seems to me we shouldn't be meeting like this. We're prohibited to having so many council members in a zoning commission meeting because it might intimidate the commission one way or another. Here we have the entire commission, the entire city council breathing down the neck of the zoning commission. Where is the legal authority that says that we can have this joint meeting?
As far as I know, Douglas, there's nothing in the code that says one way or another that you can or can't have a joint meeting with another board or commission of the city. As you will recall from the last city council meeting on this subject, there was a sense of urgency expressed to try to resolve the request made by the applicant before the beginning of summer. And I suggested to the staff that they could consider having a joint meeting. The mayor certainly has the power to call a special meeting of the city council. The chairman of the zoning commission has the power to call a special meeting of the zoning commission, and there's nothing that prevents that from being held simultaneously, concurrently, stacked one after the other, or however you want to do it. This is the most expeditious way of addressing the subject because both the council and the zoning commission can hear the testimony of the public who is interested in this subject, as well as the testimony of the applicants. Everybody hears the same information. There's no quorum issues because both the commission and the city council have noticed to the public that there will be quorums in attendance. There will be minutes taken for both entities. So all of the Open Meetings Act requirements are complied with by doing it this way. And it's a way of resolving, possibly. It may not resolve anything tonight, but there's a possibility it could by the end of the month. It's done in other cities and works very well.
Now, you say it just strikes me that the spirit of the Open Meetings Act is to try to allow people to come to decisions on their own. And to have the entire council, though, sitting with the zoning commission after failing to agree to their recommendation last time, in fact, I don't think we even voted on it, there's something very odd about this. First, the speed of it. We're sitting up here sitting right down the nose of the zoning. I wouldn't mind if the zoning commission was meeting in another room and they could have their meeting and they could have their hearing and they could have their stuff, then present it to us like they have all the years that I've been here. I don't see the benefit to the citizenry of this joint meeting, and it sets a horrible precedent for other committees.
Possibly. I'm not going to argue with you about that, Mr. Gregory, but I totally reject the concept that you all or that the zoning commission members would be so swayed by what some council person says or what some zoning commission member says that you would not be able to make an impartial, clear judgment decision. All of you all are elected by the public to make those decisions under whatever circumstances they need to be made, and I have no fear that anybody up here is going to be able to make a clean, objective decision on what the application is after hearing the testimony of the public and each other. So I don't buy the argument that somebody's going to be swayed improperly by what they might hear. You're going to hear the raw data and the raw testimony of everybody that came to this meeting that's interested in this subject. And what better way is there to do it other than just do it all at one time?
To rephrase, there is no legal precedent or authority that says we can do it, but you're saying there is none that says we can't
Well, there's
do it.
precedent. I said there's no statute that says thou shalt have joint meetings of the zoning commission and the city council if you want to. There's nothing that says you can't.
Is there precedent in cities under 5,000?
Sure.
There is?
Sure. Yeah, and I heard the question posed over there, well, what cities were those? I'm not going to say, but I can tell you there is precedent for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, under the circumstances, I move to accept the unanimous and rational recommendation by the Zoning Commission made on May 1st, 2018, to deny the application to amend the zoning code with no further considerations.
Second.
I'd like to call for the vote.
Mr. Mayor, could I comment on that motion? There was a motion made at the city council meeting to postpone or to return, as I recall it, to return the subject back to the zoning commission for reconsideration.
I believe there's a question for you, Mr. Brennan.
And that
That's not the
resolved
question.
what happened at that meeting. There's no action item available to the city council to even consider right now since there's no further recommendation from the
I
zoning
didn't hear
commission.
anybody ask you a question, Mr. Brennan.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, can we have some order here?
Motion's been made and seconded and the vote called for. Can we have a
some
vote,
order
Mr.
here?
Mayor?
Motion has been made, a second by Mr. McCormick, motion by Ms. Winger. And you'll have to reread the motion, please.
I move to accept the unanimous and rational recommendation by the Zoning Commission made on May 1st, 2018, to deny the application to amend the zoning code with no further consideration.
Okay?
You're trying to change the action that was taken at the last meeting.
I'm objecting to the city attorney participating as a member of the council. I don't really believe you should be sitting up here. You were not elected. We were, and no, as Mr. McCormick pointed out, nobody asked you a question.
This will be a roll call vote. Mr. McCormick? Ms. Scott?
No. Yes?
All right.
The ayes have it, 3-2. So I guess that's it, right? Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second. I have made a motion to adjourn the meeting. It's a privileged motion. I can make it at any time. There's no debate.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Ms. Scott? Ms.
Nay. Yes?
Okay, they went 3-2. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry, it's over, Steve. You may want to talk to the council about that on the way out. Thank you very much.